I got brown hair.
I've got blonde hair.
Welcome to Recently Interesting. So, for me, the reason that I wanted to do this was because we're married, we have kids, and I feel like we spend a lot of our time, either at work, dealing with sort of everyday sort of life issues, groceries, cleaning. But I feel like this, for me at least, was a good way of forcing us to sort of sit down and talk about like adult stuff so that we can still have like a more adult life, more adult conversations.
It's kind of nice to have a hobby together.
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted to do a podcast together because I feel like I have listened to a lot of podcasts myself, and I always really enjoy that. And I feel like nowadays, a lot of content, you kind of see two extreme opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of what's available out there of content consumption. There's YouTube shorts and TikToks that are, 10 seconds to a minute long, or, like Joe Rogan podcast that's 3.5 hours long on a short day. And I think that it seems to me that it rings a little bit healthier to indulge in the long form stuff. Not necessarily for 3.5 hours. I don't think that's what we're wanting to do. But I do think that it would be nice to participate instead of just consume content, but actually create some, add our own voice to what's out there.
Yeah. And it'll also probably force me to look into things and start like, digesting some media that's more I was going to say wholesome, but I feel like just more stimulating,
Maybe, yeah.
Because I feel like...
Not like the brain fast food.
Right. And so, I don't know. If we did end up getting good at this, I feel like it would be a good thing to listen to on your way to work. Because I feel like a lot of the stuff I listen to, I'm always like, oh, I heard, this went on. And then I'll like look up some sort of podcast that talks about some topic. And it'll be like 45 minutes of just like nothing, of just fluff, of just other stuff. And then it'll be like 10 minutes of like, oh, that's actually what I wanted to hear. And I'm like, just get to the point, So... Like
for a full, like a radio show.
Yeah, radio show, even some podcasts, I feel like they just sort of dance around stuff. And so I'm hoping to at least get to the meat of a topic rather than
keep it more exclusive to one topic and not bounce around.
Right, yeah. And so like it would just be easy, like, oh, they're talking about, yard waste. You'll know they'll be talking about yard waste the entire time. Whatever, I don't think we're going to talk about yard waste.
I don't have anything to say about yard waste, so that would have to be a solo mission.
All I got to say is that, never mind, I got nothing to say about it. But yeah, so format really is just going to both look up the same topic, find questions about that topic that we want to ask each other.
Yeah.
So you'll ask me stuff, I'll ask you stuff, and just sort of see where it goes, see where it takes us, and see if we can find anything interesting about the stuff we're looking at.
Should we give the topic for next week's video in advance so that way if anyone's listening to this and they have any questions or comments that they specifically want us to address next time? They could comment it and then we'll address it.
I guess, yeah. I think next week we're going to talk about the 21st century glow is what I heard it said. I feel like that was just a very interesting tagline or just sort of phrase someone used to describe how everyone's on their phones. And I feel like it's definitely a topic that's been talked about a lot, but just recently listened to these two talking about it. And what they said, I feel like sort of re-sparked some interest from me, and I got some questions I want to ask about it.
I also think it's not, almost, you can't say too much on the subject because everyone's trying to figure it out in their own individual way, how to deal with their phones and stuff. But I think that if you asked most people that you know, are you happy with where you're currently at with your phone and the way that you use it and how much you use it? I think that most people would say that they've got a couple issues. So I think that with all that's been said, there's still more to be figured out.
Yeah. And I don't know if we'll figure anything out, but
I'm going to try.
We'll definitely have some interesting...
I'll try to figure something out.
Interesting things to ask, yeah. But yeah, I feel like our generation was definitely the guinea pigs of all technology, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll dig more into that.
Okay. So if anyone is listening to this, which you're probably not, but if you have any questions or comments about the way that you use your phone or how you feel about the way that you use your phone, your screen time, social media usage, if you have any kids, what you allow with them, and how you feel about that, then leave those comments below and we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah. I'd be kind of blown away. Even if I had one comment of one person saying some random thing, first off, I'd be like, well, heck, how the heck did they find this video? Second, if they actually say something interesting, I'd be interested to know what sort of things they have to say.
I got one comment on one of my videos on my personal account one time, and I couldn't believe it.
That someone found, yeah. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty short, but I feel like, yeah.
That's just it. Well, that's actually not really an intro to us, but that's more of an announcement. We're here. We're going to be talking. You're going to have the opportunity to be listening if you feel like it, and we hope you do.
Yeah.
And regardless, we'll be here talking.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets interesting. All right. Sounds good.
Adios.
Anything else? No? You're good? All right.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.